Hey guys, today we're gonna practice the CSS Grid model with 5 practical exercises ranging from level 1 to level 5. The link of this Figma design is given in the description down below. So on level 1, we're gonna build this layout over here. Next up, on level 2, we're gonna build this layout with a large screen option and a mobile option. Next, on level 3, we're gonna build this layout over here. Alright, on level 4, we're gonna build this layout. Next up, on level 5, we're gonna build this grand layout over here with desktop option, tablet and mobile option. If you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe because I post videos based on practical web dev projects so that you can level up your coding skills. If that sounds interesting, then subscribe now and join my gang. And without further ado, let's get started. I'm running this entire project on codepen.io. So come over the codepen and over the CSS over here, click CSS. And save and close. Alright, before starting the project, first let's set up our environment. Okay, so over here we're gonna build a small map variable containing all our breakpoints like this. Follow me, $BP colon, and over here we're gonna input 3 values: mobile 480 pixels, tablet 768 pixels, desktop 1440 pixels. To save time, we're gonna build a small conditional media query rendering. Follow along. Write @make scene query. Over here write $screen. Over here we're gonna make a each loop. So @each, then write $key, $value in $BP, curly braces. The main logic behind writing this line is this $key refers to the values over here: mobile, tablet and desktop, and these values are referring to these values over here, and this $BP is our map. Inside the curly braces write an if statement. So if, then write $screen is equal to $key, curly braces, and over here write @media, then max width. Over here write $value, then curly braces, and over here write @content. So therefore every time we need a media query, we're gonna write like this: @include query, and we're gonna specify the name which device screen we need, like this. Let's say that we need a mobile screen, so we're gonna write mobile over here and our code goes here. Likewise, if we need tablet or desktop, we're gonna write the value over here and then we're gonna input the code over here like this. As simple as that. Next up, we have to remove the default styles. So write star curly braces tab, which stands for margin, set it to 0 pixels, p tab, set it to 0 pixels, and box sizing will be border box. Inside over here write body, and over here we're gonna set the font family to be sans serif. Set the font size to be 30 pixels. We are gonna define these items as box 1, box 2 and box 3. In order to specify all of these items, come over to CodePen and over here write square brackets, then class, then this sign equal to write box hyphen. Okay, so we're targeting all of them all together. Over here write dgrid tab, which is display grid, place items center. The main logic behind putting these 2 lines is that I want the header, main, footer text to be at the very center of my items. Next up write border 2 pixels solid red. So I'm specifying that the box borders will be red color and 2 pixels each. Okay, let's set it to 3 pixels. Now we are all set. Let's start coding. In order to build the first layout, come over to CodePen. Over the HTML write .container tab, and over here we're gonna make 3 more divs with the class names box 1, box 2 and box 3 like this: box hyphen star 3 tab, and then over here write 1 2 3. Okay, and over here write header main, and over here write content. Okay, we're done with the HTML. Come over to the main CSS file, target the dot container class and write dgrid tab display grid. Set the height to 100 VH. Then let's set the grid gap to be 10 pixels. So when I put the grid gap to be 10 pixels or any value, there will be gaps between these items over here like this. If you set to 20 pixels, then it's gonna be 20 pixels. For this project, I'm gonna keep it to 10 pixels. This is a single column layout because it just has only one column and it carries all these items like this. If you want to specify the height of these items individually, this is called the row. Okay, so currently I have 3 rows. In order to specify the height of these rows, come over here and write grid template rows. On the first one we're gonna write auto, on the next one we're gonna write 1FR, and on the last one we have set it to auto. So what I'm telling my code to do is, on the first row, cover as much as text is given. So look at the header height and look at the height of my row 1. It's the same. Same goes for over here. It happened because I have set the height to be auto. Over here 1FR means cover the remaining height like this. We're done with level 1. Let's start level 2. Time to go for level 2. On level 2 we're gonna build this layout over here. Okay, so come over to CodePen and remove this block of code over here. For this code we just need 2 blocks, the left and right. So remove the extra one and over here write left, over here write right. We're done with the HTML. Come over to the CSS again. At the very bottom we're gonna write the same thing, dot container, write d grid tab, then height 100 VH. For this project we're gonna need 2 columns. So column 1 will carry the left, column 2 will carry the right. Okay, so for this project let's set some grid gap of 10 pixels again. In order to build up the columns, I'm gonna show you how you can build 12 columns. A 12 column layout like this. Grid template columns, then repeat 12 1FR. What I'm telling by this line of code is that divide my entire width into 1 fraction each by 12. So over here I have 12 columns with 1 fraction unit each, and 1 fraction unit means that all these 12 columns will be equal to one another. On the Figma file we're seeing that this column and this column is not equal. Let's say that it covers 4 columns together and it will take the remaining columns. In order to achieve this result, come to the bottom and write dot box 1. If you want the left box to cover 4 columns, then write grid column and we're gonna start with 1, then write /1/ and we want to carry 4 columns. Okay, but here is a small trick. We don't input 4 directly, we add 1 with the 4 like this and it will do the job. Same thing with box 2. Over here write dot box 2 curly braces, and over here we left from 5. Okay, so write 5 / we want it to cover the remaining distance. So the last value is 12, but we have to add 1, so write 13. So this is the start value and this is the end value. Perfect, it has done the job. We also want the layout to change when we are displaying it on a mobile screen. In order to achieve this result, come at the bottom and write @include query. If you can recall, we have built a small mixin over here. Okay, now it's gonna save our time. simply by writing mobile over here, because we just need the mobile screen. Over here write dot container, and over here we're gonna write grid template columns to be 100%. What I'm specifying is that when the screen hits mobile device, then just make a 1 column instead of a 2 column. Okay, and in order to clear these values over here on the mobile screen, over here just write dot box 1 comma dot box 2 curly braces and write grid column inherit, which means the original value. Let's check. See, it's working. Currently you're seeing that we have 2 rows. If you want to specify even further, you can write grid template rows, then repeat to 1fr, which means that divide the whole height by 2 and each row will be 1 fractions each. It will output the same results. Time for level 3. Now we're gonna build this layout over here. Come over to code pen and just write 3 divs with the class names box 1, box 2 and box 3, and write A, B and C. On the CSS, remove this default code. Okay, just keep dot container display grid height 100 VH, grid gap 10 pixels, and just keep the media query that we built on level 2. We're set. For this level, we're gonna use something called grid template areas. The main benefit of using grid template areas is that you can see what you are doing beforehand. In order to build one, come over here and write grid template areas. Back to our Figma file, we can see that A is covering the whole column over here. So in order to specify A in grid template areas, we're gonna write A 12 times. In order to assign this value to box 1, simply just come over here and write dot box 1 curly braces, and over here write grid area, and then write A, and we're set. It has set to 100% column. So a quick recap, what I'm telling by this code is divide the entire width of the screen into 12 sections into 12 equal fractions. At the same time, I'm also specifying that A should cover the whole width. A should cover all the columns like this. Time to specify the B and then the C. In order to do this, let's say that B will cover 8 columns and C will cover 4 columns. In order to visually specify it, write B 8 times and write C 4 times like this. In order to set the value to B, write box 2 and grid area B. In order to specify the value to box 3, write this code C. On the HTML, I forgot to change the number from 2 to 3, and that's why it looks very odd. So save. It's giving me the specified output like this. If you want the width of the rows to increase, then just copy this same line and paste it again like this, and it will give us the required value like this. Just play around with it, then you can understand it. I like to separate this grid by adding some spacings like this. So that I can better understand what I'm doing. So back to our design. On the mobile screen, we want the layout to be like this. In order to achieve this, come over to the media query we have built earlier, and then over here we're gonna specify the grid template area again. The quick way to do this is just copy the whole thing. Okay, Control C, and over here hit Control V and just change the values, and we're set. Okay, so on the mobile screen we want just one single column. Okay, nothing fancy. Alright, so set the value here to B from C so that B can carry the whole distance. At the same time, do the same thing over here. In order to set the value for C, write another line over here and then C 12 times. Let's check. Perfect. It's working perfectly fine. Time for level 4, boys. Here we're gonna build this layout. So for this layout we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boxes. So back to our HTML, copy this code and paste it 2 more times. D, change the number and then remove these values over here. Again, remove this. For this layout we're gonna use the grid template areas again. First of all, we want A to cover the entire width, all the columns. Okay, so in order to specify this, write A 12 times again. For B, we're gonna cover 8 columns. Over here, specify B 8 times. And there is also E. Okay, for E, specify E 4 times, which means that it will carry 4 columns. Like this. It will look ugly over here because we didn't complete our code. So we have 5 boxes. Control C, Control V over here and change the value from box 4. It's gonna be D and right over here box 5. Box 5 has E, so write E over here. Okay, it looks quite good, but we have left C and D. In order to specify those, come over here and write. In order to specify the C, we're gonna cover 4 columns over here, and E can take the remaining 4, so it sums up to 12. So write C 4 times, then D 4 times, specify E 4 times. Perfect. It looks absolutely gorgeous. If you want to increase the width of B, simply copy this again and paste it over here. It's gonna give us this result over here. Alright, for the mobile screen, let's check our design. So we want this layout. A, B and E will cover entire width. In order to achieve this, come over to our media query, but before that, copy this layout. Paste it over here and let's change the values. So we want A, B and E to carry 100% column. Over here remove E and write B 4 more times. And over here remove these values and write E 12 times. Remove the values over here and write just B. For C and D, we want to cover 6 columns and 6 columns over here. In order to do that, over here write C 6 times and D 6 more times. Perfect. It looks as expected. Alright boys, let's turn up the heat with level 5. Here we're gonna build this grand layout. Okay, so let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We need 6 boxes. So back to our project and just copy this and paste over here and write F. 6. Over here we don't need to change that much things, just copy another box, paste, okay, and then over here write 6 and change the value to F. So we are 50% done. We just need to change this value and just this value over here, and then we are set, boys. At first, let's specify the desktop layout version. Let's check our design again. Over here we can see that A will carry 100%, F will carry 100%, and C and E will carry 2 columns each. B will carry 8 columns. Same with D. In order to specify this, back to our grid template areas, from the previous project, A is already set up. We just need to set up F at the very bottom. So write F 12 times. Back to our design again, we want C to carry 2 columns and E to carry 2 columns. And the remaining 8 columns can be carried out by B. So over here we're going to write C 2 times, B 8 times, and E will be 2 times, like this. We will carry the same formula for D, C and E again, like this. Just copy this code and change the value from B to D. On our initial design, we can see that B is very small compared to D. In order to achieve this result, just copy this line and paste it again. If you want to further decrease the size of B, just paste again the same value and it will go, and we will get this output over here. Alright, time to set layout for our tablet. On our tablet screen, we can see that A will carry 12 columns, B will carry 12 columns, and C is gonna carry 2 columns. It's gonna carry 10. 10 over here, 2 over here. So back to our project, and over here write a small media query. Again @include query. This time we're gonna write tablet. I got this value from the map we have written earlier. Okay, so over here write .container and copy this whole layout along with the property, paste it over here, and we just need to change this and everything will work automatically. So we want A and B to carry 100% of the columns. So just remove C and write B 12 times on the second layout. Remove E from here and write B. We want the E to be here. In order to specify this, just remove E from here and write just D. Like this. Okay, so, and in order to get this E over here, remove the F and write E over here 2 times. So we are successful in this design. For the mobile screen, we can see that A, B, C, E, F, except D, everything will carry 100% columns. In order to specify this, come back to our project, and over here we can see that there is already @include query mobile written. We just need to change this value over here. Just copy this, paste it over here, change the value from E to F. Over here we're gonna change the values to E. For the C, remove these values from here and write C. Remove C from here and write D. Now time to check. So this is our desktop layout. This is our tablet layout over here, and this will be our mobile layout. It looks good. If you want the width of the row to increase for D, just copy this and paste it 2 to 3 times, as much as you like. So for my case, I'm gonna paste it 3 times. See, the width of the row for D has increased. Likewise, you can play around and do your experiments. If you like the video, give a like, share it with a friend, and feel free to subscribe to get more videos in the future like this. See you in the next video. Till then, take care.